Survivor's ready. Anybody has a hidden immunity idol and you want to play it, now would be the time to do so.
The queen stays queen.
You said Russell Feathers.
Did you do that?
Yeah. I'm supposed to talk to you. We have great bananas all the time.
Dude, my prize isn't even $1 million. My prize was that I fell in love in this game. Love at first sight. Her name is Candace.
You officially go down as the dumbest survivor ever.
Welcome to Not Game, All Personal. Hey, we are a Survivor podcast here to talk about all things Survivor. More specifically, the season premiere of Survivor 48. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. It hit me, Tony, how close we are to 50. Like, I know because we've been talking about 50, but like the fact that we are 8 seasons into the 40s, that's crazy.
It's wild, and now we're doing this like voting for 50 and everything, and I'm just so excited. I just wanted the cast now. The thing that's gonna suck is we're gonna know the cast and have to wait 8-9 months until we get to see it happen, which like I guess is what happened for like Winners at War and things like that. But Winners at War was my first season I watched, so there wasn't that anticipation for me quite as much because I was watching through everything else at the time. So I'm excited, and it's my first time experiencing this.
Was the cast announced for season 40 before you even started watching? Or do you think it was... I think it might have been, because I remember I texted you what seasons you should... Right? And
Yeah,
I kind of
watched
picked
a
it off the
weird
winners.
order. I watched a weird order of like... I like watched like All Stars, Cook Islands, Micronesia...
Yeah, because
Heroes
I'm
vs.
pretty
Villains, and,
sure
like, a
like
couple
I
more.
texted you an order that was like going to be good enough to get through a couple for winner, like, and then what I didn't know is that you would end up watching all of them before Winners at War. So like I should have just had to go in
caught up,
order.
and then it was like, oh, here's a list of all the winners that are going to be on the season, and I went back and did that, and then I went back, or I might have just gone back to the beginning at that point and just cleaned all of it up. But
Like my recommendation was a crash course for like a normal
Yeah.
person to watch in like the span of like 6 months. Little did I know I was dealing with you who would just complete that in like half the time.
no, it was 6 months. It was I watched all Survivor in 6 months, all of Big Brother in a year, and most of the challenge in a month and a half.
That's just absurd. I'm sorry. Like
All of the challenge the challenge is different because the challenge is like early seasons are 12 episodes that are like half hour each.
right. No, I do
So
know
they're
that.
super short for those.
There have been a couple seasons of the challenge that I finished in like 2 days or something. Still not to your level, but yeah, okay, anyway, season 48. Here's a question just to wrap up the season 50 talk, even though we might be coming back to that a lot this season. Do you think anyone from this cast or 49, probably not 49, actually definitely not 49, but anyone from this cast will make it on 50, or do you think the cutoff will be just strictly 47?
I think there's a chance that somebody is from this cast. I think it would have to be somebody who they knew that they had a hit on their hands. I think there's a possibility that they have a couple alternates for season 50, but they have one spot that they leave open or 2 spots that they leave open, and it's like, all right, if there's a guy or a girl in 49, maybe they have one like they have their eye on. That if they just do awesome, then we're just gonna have them play again if they can.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of because we've seen that a couple times with like big hit players like Russell and Malcolm, where they didn't get much time to rest. It was kind of just rest and go. And
Right.
so it wouldn't surprise me if they kept the spot open, and worst case scenario, they add in somebody random from one of the seasons. They add in Ben because Ben is somebody that they have on the wings ready to go again. I don't know why
Yeah.
Ben was the one that came with me. And to be clear,
No, that makes sense.
rock star Ben, not winner Ben.
I thought Winner Ben at first, but then I immediately jumped to Rockstar Ben.
Good.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good call because I mean, I think Russell's probably the best example of that, right? Like just back-to-back seasons where like the people on Heroes vs. Villains didn't even know who he was because they didn't see him play. But like Winners at War, 40 or 37 was the last season that they took a winner from. So yeah, I don't know. I would also assume probably like 1 or 2 from here, but they'll have to make that decision like now before the season even airs fully. So we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
We'll see. But hey, we're not here to
Uh,
talk about season 50, Nathan. Let's go ahead and
no,
season 48.
but you know, maybe we come back. I don't know. That might be more exciting than this season. Who knows? What do you think of episode 1, season 48? Initial thoughts.
So, I mean, anybody who's listened to us before, we're usually pretty underwhelmed in the first couple episodes, and it takes a few for us to get into it. That
Yeah.
being said, I feel like there's a couple people that I am so in on, like very early, that usually doesn't happen. Where I'm just like,
Mhm.
I want this person to succeed. I'm a fan from day one, and I'm excited to like talk through the cast and talk about some of them. And then there's others where it's like, yeah, I'm already just very over you. And so I don't know. I think my snap judgment is a little bit quicker this time around than it has been in the past.
Yeah, I almost attribute that more to my. I feel like I'm just getting better at watching these season premieres. I think
Oh,
like
maybe.
the first couple seasons of the 40s, especially the 40s, because again, I think with the lack of themes, it's very hard to like latch onto anything. It's like what it
Mhm.
because like I think with the theme, you at least get some characteristic. Like, oh, this person's a David or Goliath. Oh, this person is a hero or a healer. But like with this, there's no defining characteristic until we hear their confessional. And even the confessionals have, I don't know, just like it wasn't until post 40s that we got flashbacks. So it's like, it's just a different type of show. So I feel like I agree with you that I latched onto them a little bit quicker this time. But I also think I've been doing that progressively better throughout the 40s. So I think that's where I'm at. But it could be a combination of both because there definitely are some people on here I'm like, this could be fun. I see potential. And I'll say, I think I did know who was going home last night. It felt fairly obvious to me. But besides that, I think a lot of people got a decent amount of airtime. So
Yeah.
I think the edit was very well done where I can't necessarily predict who's going to be an early boot, who's going to be where normally first episode there's at least, a handful of people I can kind of make that prediction for.
Yeah, I feel like we got a piece of everybody. Like, still, I watched it this morning. Still looking at it, there's a couple people where it's like, "Who are you?" Like, I don't super recognize you at first, but when I think about it, it's like, "Oh, right, you did this. You were a part of this conversation or this alliance that was being put together." So I'm able to like piece together where these people are. Where genuinely in past seasons, it's like I'm confident this person was not in this episode, and it's wild that they're able to do that. So I definitely agree. Yeah.
Is it too early to bring up the confessional count, or should we wait till later on till I bust out
I
some
think it would be
stats?
I think it would be off brand for you to not bring it up already.
All right. If you're new to the show, I love reading the confessional count. There are two people who only got one confessional. I'm not gonna have you guess because I think you're just gonna be reading off a list of names that won't be exciting. One of them is Bianca, okay, which I will say makes sense, but I still feel like I know something about her because she was at least talked about by other people outside of her own personal confessional, okay? The other person, which this one kind of surprised me, was Chrissy. And I think
Oh yeah.
it's because, well, she was one of the people that Jeff talked to at the very beginning before the first challenge, right? So I think that kind of threw it off for me because I felt like I knew her more than a one confessional would get, but I think that's why. So those are the two people. Everyone, a lot of 2s and 3s. Two people got, one person got 13, one got 10, one got 21, which is absurd. So, yeah, I mean, nothing like too shocking here. But yeah, that's Nathan's confessional corner. Any thoughts?
Who got these massive amounts?
Do you want to take a guess? I feel like you could guess. You could guess these. It's not that shocking.
I think I could. I think I don't know how to say this girl's name on Vula. She seems like the obvious pick, but I can't remember them saying the name and looking at it. I don't know what the name
Okay.
is.
All right. Let's preface. We're doing our best.
Sorry.
I'll sound it out for you, and I'll take the hit. Okay. Sayuina.
How did they say it? Because I don't remember hearing a name that was like.
No, but
So it's probably much simpler
you
than
are
you think it is.
correct that she had 21 confessionals, which is maybe why other people
Yeah.
didn't say her name because she was doing all the talking.
I was really scared you were gonna make me guess because I knew it was her. And I was like, I don't know how to say that name.
All right, we were gonna pay very close attention. You know what? I'll even look.
So the Wikipedia, they call her Sai. They call her Sai.
Perfect, Sai.
SAI.
We'll go with that.
That helps a ton.
Yes, Sai had the most confessionals. Not super surprising. The other two are connected in a sense, so I think you'll be able to guess them as
Oh,
well.
connected in a sense.
Yes, like they
Oh,
both
is it-
have their confessionals for the same reason.
For the same reason.
Does that help?
Throws off where I was going with it. Is it Kevin and Kyle because they did the
It
thing?
is. Yep.
Okay. That's
So
not
Kevin
where my
has,
mind initially went, but that makes sense.
Kevin has 13 confessionals. Kyle has 10. And then a couple people have 6, some have 4. So, but those 3 are the biggest ones, and I don't know, makes perfect sense. And but it's also like doesn't really tell us much because like of course they went on the journey, and Sai
Mhm.
was potentially the other one that could have gone home. So, wait, no, that's not true. Yeah, yes, it is. What am I saying? Okay.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
mind.
What's not true? I
I
think you
questioned
nailed
it. No, she was okay. All right, yeah. So I don't think it tells us anything. Basically, Nathan's confessional corner gives 0 insight to how the season's gonna go
Hmm.
until next week.
Love it. Until next week.
All right.
It always develops a story as we get deeper in, but that's just because the winner is still in and their count is still going up. Anyways, I feel like there's no new like major twists in this season. It feels like pretty on brand for what we've seen in the past. Does it feel the same to you?
Yeah, I mean, there's always like variations, like obviously the rules of the summit. Was it even referred to as a summit this time? The journey?
Well, it's like the competition, like because in the past it's been the sweater savvy.
Right.
And now it's just a straight up 1v1 to see
Mhm.
who can earn the supplies. There we go.
Yeah, so I mean, like nothing new. I think it's just variations of the same things we have seen. Like there was a beware advantage that led to an idol. The means of how they got there, a little bit different, but it's not really
Yeah,
a twist.
interesting.
I don't know. Yeah, so nothing new, just a little freshening up of the same old, I guess.
It is kind of nice how every season there's a little like twist in the puzzle, or the beware advantage is never the same thing. There's always some sort of wrinkle that we haven't seen. Like I still think it's hilarious the one where they had to say like a certain phrase, like the butterflies fly through the chicken coop or something. Like that is ridiculous and was so obvious, but like was such a funny thing to watch Marianne have to do week after week. So I appreciate how every season is like a new wrinkle.
Yeah.
Even if I don't love the twist overall, like if I really thought about it, do I love that? Maybe not, but like the fact that they're creative with it is interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Like once we're out of this era, if we get out of it, after I don't know what to do after 50, but just like to compare them all, like will we have strong opinions on like we like this one better than that one, or I don't know, because like the one that stands out to me is always the cage, mostly because like Carolyn when she had to like go put something back in there to like, and just her acting ability to try to sell that. So like there are some like
yeah.
fun ones, and like obviously you said like the phrase were really good. So I don't mind them. I think it's just like I think what I'm kind of growing stale of is just the whole beware part of it, because there's now like that used to be a surprise when it was new, and now it's just like
Mhm.
you lose a vote until you find it, and it's like
Mhm.
always the same. And it's gotten to the point where it's like not even a threat, or like no, like when was the last time anyone considered not taking it? Like I feel like it's not even like people just decided it's worth it to take the hit for a little bit.
Yeah, there was the one season, I can't remember who it was, but it was somebody major who like was like, "Oh, I'll come back," and then they like went back and it was gone already. Like super like recently, somebody found
I
it.
feel like that might have been
Um,
last season.
It was last season or the season before. It was very
Yeah.
recent, but I can't remember who it was specifically. I like the idea that you risk losing your vote. I think that that is the reason. I don't know why this hasn't occurred to me in the past. That's the reason people are sharing that they have an idol so often. I think is because they need help with the beware advantage. I mean, sometimes it's just they want to like to create an ally, and that is a way to do it. But a lot of them, it's just like, hey, I have a beware advantage. We have to get this, or I lose my vote, and that's what's creating this like idol as a team thing. So maybe I don't know. In the long run, do we not like it because it creates that kind of a vibe, and there's no true hidden immunity idols, which leads to season 46, which was fun to watch, but also immensely frustrating to watch. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, because the thing that I don't fully understand either is why you would ever fully admit that you don't have a vote. You know, because like to me,
Yeah.
like that doesn't like, oh, I have this beware advantage. I need to go tell some allies to help me. I'm like, I would still keep that pretty hidden, you know? And some people do,
Mhm.
but I think that's the part like I just don't ever fully understand is I feel like there still is some meta strategy that could happen with these, but I think we're just kind of in this cycle where everyone just uses them the same way. It's like you find the beware advantage, you tell one or two people, you maybe go a tribal council without a vote, and then by next one you go with an idol, and it's just like the same cycle over and
Mhm.
over. And by that point, everyone knows who has the idol, you know. So I just feel like there needs to be something that breaks it, and I don't think production is gonna break that. Like clearly they don't see this as stale, you know, because they keep running
Yeah.
it back. So I don't know. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of hopeful like a player can do something to mix it up.
Yeah, it's interesting that they haven't seen it as stale and they keep running back. And I'm not even saying it is stale necessarily, but we're just getting the same thing over and over, and we're getting a good sample size of what it looks like. And so we're able to compare it. Like going into season 50, we get to vote on stuff. We're able to compare what we did in the old era to what we do in the new era because there's a large enough sample size to really like analyze that critically. But man, it's just so boring to just do the same thing. And like we just said, the creativity with like what they have to do with the Bearware advantages, like that's not the worst thing in the world, but all of it, yeah, I don't know, all of it around it is pretty the same. So we'll see, we'll give them time. I guess we'll be patient.
Yeah, I mean this season could be different, but I'm like if it is just going to be the same, what's going to happen is by the time the mergatory happens, you're going to have pretty much one idol in every tribe, and by the
Mm-hmm.
merge, everyone will know where all three of those idols are, you know? And it's
Mm-hmm.
just a game of like, do we flesh it out or are we keeping it? Because like sometimes someone will have an idol and they're just not a threat. Like nobody is targeted. It was like, so I don't know. It's like very weird how like idols have almost they still have power, but like not in the same way. You know, they're no longer just used to like keep you safe, or they're now used as like this extra layer of like leveraging power or like forming
Mm-hmm.
deals or trust. You know, I think we talked about that a couple
Mm-hmm.
seasons ago. How it's like you telling someone that you have an idol is more about gaining trust rather than like providing them safety, which is
Oh yeah, absolutely.
fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to do what you have to do to gain trust because it's so difficult to come by. So divulging something like that is a quick way to do it. And as soon as you play your idol, they no longer have any sort of upper hand. You're on level playing field, but you still gain that trust potentially.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I understand the logic of it.
Did I miss? Did they say anything about the voting for season 50 last night? I know that's like a thing that's going to happen, but it didn't start or anything, did it?
Yeah, I think Jeff. Yeah, it's definitely started. Jeff mentioned that it started.
I must have missed that completely. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll check in on that throughout the season, I'm sure. Um,
Oh yeah.
let's talk about some people on this season. Tribe by tribe, maybe? Obviously,
Absolutely. Where do you want to start?
we don't have to go super in depth on everyone because
Yeah, we'll
I'm
have
not
takes on some people. We won't on others.
I'm
And
not
we
going to
might.
force it. I'm not going to pretend like I have takes when I don't.
It was a 2-hour episode. We might miss like a key moment that happened with somebody that was valuable. Like that happens. It's game. It's the game.
Get over it, listeners.
Yeah.
Let's start hot. Let's start with the Green Tribe.
Ooh.
Vula. Were they the moon or the
Vula.
sky? I don't know.
I don't know, Jeff. Jeff said what they meant. I don't remember that at all.
Sun, moon, and sky. I was fascinated that the sky was the third part. For
Mhm.
this, I was like, is it gonna be stars? You know, like sun, moon, like sky. Sky is the third counterpart to the sun and moon. I don't know.
It's true.
I don't know
what they
astrology,
say.
so I trust him. Yeah. I mean, was it any shock to you that Stephanie was going home? I felt like that was the most obvious thing ever.
As soon as she was comparing her like slow-paced gameplay to
Uh-huh.
Sai's fast-paced gameplay, it was going to come back to that. Like it was all, and I don't think that's indicative to how it goes because a lot of times the slow-paced will be more successful than playing fast. But pretty early on, it was like that's the that's the question we're asking today. What's
Mhm.
better, the fast or the slow?
Yeah, and I even just felt like it was obvious based on, like, I hate to say edit, but like, there was no way Sai was going to go episode 1. I'm not saying she's going to go far in the game, but
Mhm.
to me, I'm like, she has so many relationships. She is clearly strategizing. She's not an episode 1 boot. So the second that it became this one-on-one, which one's going to go, I'm like, well, I know who's going to go. I don't like it just I don't know. It couldn't be more clear. So RIP Stephanie. I don't know. Just play harder next time. It felt like you
Yeah.
didn't do much.
No, honestly, what she did isn't bad. It just happened to be that I don't know. It's interesting because some Sai just like starts pulling together this big alliance, and everybody's like, "Yep, we're in." And it's just it like whether or not they want to be in that alliance, you want to be a part of whatever's happening. So if an alliance is happening, you want to be a part of it. I think.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people are like, "Nope, they're too much actually, and we're gonna take a shot at the decision that happens there." It always fascinates me because it could go both ways. And this time they were like, "Yep, we're riding the Sai. Game on."
Yeah, I think to her advantage, I think it just really depends on the dynamics of the rest of your tribe, where I don't think there's like another quote unquote leader within that group that would have
Mhm.
clocked her this early. You know, because like you got Kevin, who had his own issues, right? Like getting
Yeah.
injured at the challenge. And we saw his confessional where he's just grateful to be included, you know? So it's like he's not going to turn on Sai yet.
Mhm.
Same thing like Justin, like, you know, I don't have a lot to say on Justin yet, but he seems like just again happy to be a part of it. Same with Cedric, you know, he's the token older person on this tribe. So like I
Mhm.
think she pulled in the right people that weren't going to like go against her at least yet, you know. So
Yeah.
I think if she is paired with like one other larger personality that might be tougher to get along with, then like maybe that just doesn't work for her. But at least for this week,
Mhm.
it was easy that they were going to stick with her.
Yeah, I think you saw some cracks and some like, oh, she's trying a little bit too hard. I think from like Justin, I think you saw a moment where he was like, oh, all
Mhm.
right, and same with Cedric. But ultimately, yeah, you're gonna stick with the numbers and stick with what you're confident in, as opposed to just throwing it all away to like have a complicated early like first vote.
Right.
You try to shake it up, and then you're the target suddenly, and you're getting voted out, and that's not worth the risk.
Well, and then even Stephanie realized it because she's a shot in the dark, so she wasn't even
Mhm.
confident. She knew she didn't have the numbers.
She realized it, and Mary was stunned. Like, what was that about? Mary was like, "What?" And it's like, "No, that everybody knew but you. Sorry."
Even Stephanie was playing this little game at
Yeah.
Tribal. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I
They were
mean,
not. They were very thinly veiled shots at each other constantly.
I did enjoy that. I like Sai is that person where I'm not sure she's going to be like a great player, but she's one that I hope sticks around because
Mhm.
I think like one she has the potential to be very entertaining, but also I think she's a fun player that can be so chaotic and so aggressive that it's also going to be fun watching other players try to play around her. Whether it be like try to work with her, keep her on track, or try to get her out. You know what I mean? Like if she gets
Yeah.
blindsided in the like pre-merge, that's still going to be fun because that's going to require a lot of other people to have to like pull a blindside. So I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm hopeful she'll at least make the season interesting.
She's a classic love to hate for me. She bothers me how like I because I feel like she's just playing the game poorly.
Yeah.
Obviously, she survived the first vote, so like that there's value to that, and like what I think is good gameplay isn't necessarily the end all be all. So like I don't like her. I don't want to see her succeed, but also I love like watching her. And I don't think she's as toxic or ridiculous as Rome was. I want to be clear with that. But it's kind of in that same vein where it's like I want to watch you crash and burn because you're just bothering me so far. And it's the first episode that could completely turn around, but that's my first read on it. It's like, oh my gosh, get out of here.
It's like she definitely doesn't have the Rome confessionals yet, crowning herself as
Yeah.
the
Oh,
queen of the island. Like let's not forget the majority of the reason he was annoyed.
we should do a worst season 50 cast. That'd be a fun game. to
That
play.
would be so much fun. I feel like I would be so tempted to just like be salty though and throw like Jonathan on there or something just to like worse for me, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. You're like, this is great. It's just Jonathan, Kyle, Malcolm, Ozzy, Joe. It's the whole squad.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of like what other fan favorites I would throw on there that people would yeah. Who else on green? You got Reeds on.
Cedric is like this older, seems to be very well spoken, like very calculated person. I don't know if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He reminded me of Captain Holt pretty quickly. I mean, he's
I
also
do
a
see
black
that,
man,
yeah.
so like that might be part of it, but that's not it. He's also just acts like Captain Holt. And so that killed me. And so I'm in on him because that's enough for me. Other than that, like I said, Justin seemed like he wasn't all in on Sai and might push back a little bit, and I'm interested to see that. And Kevin dislocated his shoulder, and they like paused the challenge to reset it. They didn't show it in the show, but that came out after that. Like they did pause the challenge and like reset his shoulder.
Yeah.
But
I was so
like Kevin.
curious on that because they kept like panning the camera to him and he was in so much pain. Like you could see it, but then
Yeah.
there was no resolution post challenge. You know, like
Mhm.
typically Jeff would like say something or like they didn't show medical, like nothing. It was just kind of mentioned later on. He's like, "Well, I got hurt earlier," so it was like, "Wait." So like
And
you knew there was more.
He like volunteered. He like volunteered to do the challenge, didn't he? Next.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that doesn't make any sense at all. Yeah, and like when he was like doing this with his shoulder at one point, I was like, oh, his shoulder's dislocated. Like I could tell just by looking at the way his arm moved.
Yeah.
And I was like, and they're just letting him do this. All right, come on.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to tell because, like I said, he got a lot of confessionals because of the journey he went on. Good for him. He got the supplies, but like, I'm not super hopeful in his chances. And I don't know what it is. I think it could go two ways. I think like he could be a center storyline this season because he just seems like a genuine guy, right? That like somehow makes it far. But I could also just see him being very naive and getting burnt pretty early on. So one of the two. Either he goes early or doesn't. That's my take on him.
Those are the two options. So you got dynamite take.
That's how I do it. The only other thing on Justin, I like that he likes pizza. It's a funny characteristic. I don't know.
He has the shirt that just says pizza. That's it. It's
Well,
a good brand to have.
nobody like people don't have like branded clothes on the show or like clothes with text, clothes with like anything. It's just the most like generic stuff, and then this guy just has pizza. Like, it's so funny.
It's so good.
But he also he went to Yale, so
Oh, I don't think I caught that.
I mean, it wasn't talked about. Like, this is just his bio. But he's definitely more than just, like, a pizza guy. So I'm fascinated if that comes, like, to play at all. Or if he's, like, strategically downplaying it and just, like, I like pizza. I'm a chill guy. I don't know.
I'm a chill guy.
Because pizza works. Like that'd be the ultimate. Like I just want pizza on my shirt, and that's how I'm gonna go far in this game.
Yeah, everybody loves pizza. Nobody likes Survivor pizza, but everybody loves pizza in general.
Oh, I cannot wait for the auction, and then pizza shows up, and everyone's just like, they're pooling their money together to like help him out. Like you need this, dude. Just
You need pizza, Justin. You won't survive without it.
anything else on the
All
Green
in all,
Tribe?
it's an interesting tribe, but with that 4 being pretty set, I mean, it's a pretty obvious next vote. But once it gets down to those 4, I think it gets spicy. So we'll see if we get a chance to see that or not.
Yeah, they also definitely feel like the weakest tribe. I think Cedric pointed that out. Because like I don't know, is like Cedric supposed to be like the muscle, or is it Justin?
Kevin's pretty jacked, but he
That-
immediately
true.
hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But like the other ones, like have clearly like they got big guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to the Yellow Tribe. Talk about
Siva.
one big guy. I guess it's orange. It's a confusing color on my screen right now.
Okay.
It's yellow passing, I suppose.
All right.
But the muscle on this tribe, David, what a guy. This guy, he seems like an AI character. Like
He does. He charmed me a little bit. I think I'm in on him. I think I like him. He's dumb. He was like, maybe if I'm nice enough, they'll see past how strong I am. They're not going to. You're not going to win this game, David. But I'm like happy for you that you think that's possible as a stunt performer. Hello?
yeah, I'm there. Are you there?
Yeah.
Did I lose you?
No, I just stopped talking and there was just silence for
No, my
like
mistake.
6 seconds.
Well, it's
I
a
was like,
bummer.
"Oh, am I supposed to keep going? My bad.
Well, maybe it did glitch because I was good on my end. I didn't hear.
Maybe
Pause.
that's probably what happened then.
Well, it's a bummer we don't edit these. Yeah, no
Yeah, it's gonna be
surprise
very
he
simple
compares himself to Jonathan. That's not a shock at all.
Mhm.
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of Shazam, like the superhero.
Zachary Levi,
Yes, but like
or the
As-
actual character.
the actual character of Shazam.
That's
like,
hilarious.
This like boy in this like superhero like body. Like
Mhm.
that's how I take him. Like when I'm listening to him talk, I'm like he's not immature. He just comes across as like naive and like very
Mhm.
like hopeful, youthful. I don't know. It's like so bizarre because he's not the stereotypical like I don't know, big guy or whatever. He doesn't act like Jonathan. But yeah, no, I don't think he's gonna win the game. Right? Like
Like if I had to pick one person to not win the game, he would be it. And not even that felt really mean. Not even by virtue of who he is. That
Yeah.
person never wins. They just don't.
right.
And so, but I like him and I want him to succeed. I'm rooting for him.
Well, yeah, after watching last night, I did kind of go like through a mental rabbit hole, which I could look this up. But like, how many have there been like big guys, or like how many times has like the Challenge Beast actually won? It's almost never. And
Yeah.
if they do, I feel like it might be the second or third Challenge Beast of the season. It's not always number one. Like Jeremy, he's a bigger guy.
Yep.
But like on his season, he wasn't the challenge threat. He was playing with Joe,
Yep.
Like Tony might have been considered one, like very big, but he wasn't great at challenges, So it's just like it's such a tough archetype to like win the game with, and I just don't think it happens almost ever.
Well, it depends if you view the archetype as the person who looks like they should be the challenge beast or the person who is the challenge beast.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Tony
Yeah.
looks like he should be a challenge beast, but he didn't win a single immunity his first season. Like there's these guys that like look like they're in shape and muscular and should be successful and just aren't. And they don't understand why. There was one recently. He was like super athletic and just could not. I mean, what's his Sam. Sam was one where Sam seemed like he was in shape and should
Yeah.
be successful at this, and he just wasn't.
True.
And then you have Ozzy, who's like kind of this scrawny little kid who just tears it up and dominates everybody, you know? So it's like it fluctuates. Or you have like Chrissy or Kim or somebody who Jenna from why to go Jenna from the Amazon? But like yeah, those are people who are like winning a lot.
I mean, she is one of the challenge beasts of
Mhm.
females, right? Yeah.
In my head, I was going for Wigglesworth, and I had said Jenna instead, and I was like, "That's not right." Who am I still trying to think of?
Yeah, no, you're probably right. I would say going off that then, it's probably almost always when you are an actual challenge beast, like you actually dominate, you actually carry your team, those people never win.
Yep.
It's only the people that look like they could be, and they're just slightly not.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's the people who actively try to not do as well in those to lower their threat level. But
True.
the people who just steer into the skid and win a bunch, they're the ones that people worry about.
So I'll have to say David's not going to win the game. I think that's...
No, it's not. Sorry. I like him, though.
Yeah, who else on this tribe do you like? I'll say this tribe is the one I know the least about. That's for sure.
Mitch, I'd say, won my heart just with the he had the stutter, I think.
Yep.
And so I don't know, just hearing that story and hearing that like he felt like he could be a part of this and seeing him step into that was very cool. Did he do anything else the rest of the episode? Not that I remember, but I liked that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There was a alliance formed on this tribe, but I cannot remember who was in it, and that's bothering me. I know David was. I know
Was it Camilla?
possibly.
Or am I wrong?
I know Chrissy was in it
Mm-hmm.
because I think Camilla was trying to
She was stirring up the
with Charity. She
Yeah.
was trying to put Charity out there as like, hey, we need to watch out for this person. So I think it was I want to say it was David, Chrissy, and Kyle that she formed a 4-person alliance with. Does that
Mhm.
sound right?
That sounds right.
Okay.
That does sound right.
Again, apologies. This tribe is the one I know the least about, so
Mhm.
that's probably the extent of what I know about them. So I don't think I'll be adding much more other than Charity is probably the one I remember least from last night, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I look at her and I'm like, who?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I think I saw on the Facebook page, Chrissy has applied literally every season since like season 1. So love to see that she's there. That's cool. We have my favorite archetype of a survivor player, an attorney that's lying about being an attorney.
Yeah, that's always
We'd
fun.
love to see that.
Yeah.
It's very important because attorneys are big threats. Because there's a jury in this game. I don't know if you knew that. Kyle, I think my take on Kyle, he seemed to get too flustered at the challenge, at the like 1v1
Yeah.
challenge. Like he was just so flustered.
I
And
love
honestly,
that he
Kevin,
broke it.
I should mention Kevin. Kevin was very cool, calm, collected. From the beginning was like, I'm gonna take this slow. I'm gonna do it, and like caught up super easily. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour slowly so that I'm utilizing more of the water instead of just dumping. Like everything about what he was doing, what Kevin was doing right, I feel like Kyle was doing wrong.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, him breaking it was just the funniest thing in the world. Like, it really
So
was.
So good.
I just, the way he just like, I broke it. Like he knew. Oh my goodness.
And then helping Kevin finish was cute. But
Yeah,
it
no,
doesn't
it was
make up
very
for it.
sweet. No. He's right though. Like that would have been a bad move if he didn't. He just sat there and watched him. You know, like
Mhm.
I think he was correct. Which honestly, I don't know if I would have identified. Like I never really thought about that. But I'm like, oh, that probably was the right move. I don't know if it would have been the wrong move if he didn't help, but there's definitely
Yeah.
more opportunity for it to be a bad look if he doesn't help.
If he got frustrated and went and sat like a little bit down the beach with like his head in his hands, I don't think it's a bad move. But it is, yeah, it's a positive move to go and help out, and then you and Kevin could potentially have something later on because like, oh, this isn't a bad guy.
Yeah. Here's a fact about this tribe that I'm just now seeing as I'm looking over their bios. First off, on this whole season, there are only 4 people that are under 30, which I found a little surprising.
Interesting.
And on
So
this
it's an older
tribe,
cast.
the yellow/orange tribe, they're all at least 30. Isn't that
Interesting.
that's a little surprising. I feel like that's not being talked enough about because like
Yeah.
that doesn't happen on Survivor, right?
Yeah. I've heard it talked about. Like Survivor used to be, especially in the early seasons, it was a show where like you had like a school lunch lady go play. You had like a school bus like you had
Mm-hmm.
people in maybe uh, and lower paying jobs or whatever it might be. You know what I mean? So it gives these people the opportunity of a lifetime to win $1 million. Whereas today, getting that amount of time off and all of this stuff, like it's mostly people who are pretty well off and like in a pretty good high up position where they're at. And so they're given more leeway to take like large amounts of time off and things like that. And so
Sure.
I wonder if that's why it's an older cast, because it's people who are deeper in their career and are able to take that time off or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's something that I've definitely seen a complaint about Modern Survivor.
No, I think that is a completely valid take. I quickly looked while you're talking. I did some counting. Last season there were 8 people under 30. The season before 9, and then season 45 there were 11 of the 18 who were
Interesting.
under
I wonder if that was a
30.
complaint that they heard and so they responded, or if it was just something they wanted to try.
I don't know. I'm just surprised I haven't seen it talked about because I feel like that's again like pretty significant. That
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Again, there's not like old people, we haven't gone back to that yet. Who is the oldest
Yeah.
person? It's probably Chrissy. Yeah, Chrissy's 54. Cedric and Joe are both 45. So
Mhm.
it's mostly like mid 30s is kind of it. There's a handful of like young 30s, but yeah,
Yeah.
the only people under 30 are Cy, Star, Justin, and
Ava.
yeah, Ava. So who would have known Justin is one of the youngest people on this season? I wouldn't have
Yeah,
guessed
that's
that.
pretty stunning. Yep.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, anything else on this tribe? Yellow/orange.
Not really. I mean, Camilla, it's always a bold move to start stirring up trouble like the first couple days. That is such a risky move. Seems like it's working in her favor so far. So we'll see how things pan out.
Yeah, I feel like she said something about it that like she knew she wasn't gonna be like a physical threat. She knew she was gonna be strategic, so she has to do it now, which I thought was interesting. Like she felt
Mhm.
like this is gonna be my strength. If I win the game, this is how it's gonna be done. So I better just do it. And I'm like, well, maybe, but
Mm.
also like too soon. I don't know.
Delay the
So
end a little bit first, maybe.
yeah, maybe. We'll see.
I had somebody ask me the other day, like, what my strategy would be if I played Survivor, and I was like, I wouldn't go in with a set strategy. Like, that's kind of a foolish way to go about it. But then I'd try to lock in with like specific people, and yeah,
Okay, well let's segue to purple because there was
Loggy,
someone I was
Leggy.
fascinated last night with. Kind of what you just said sparked it in me. Thomas. Okay.
Thomas.
When everyone was introducing themselves, and he specifically said, like, I'm listening and learning about everyone right now so that when I introduce myself, I can present it in a way that'll make sense to them and that'll like fit their narrative as well. And
Yeah,
I've never heard anyone talk about that, and I thought that was brilliant. Will he be a good player? I don't know,
absolutely.
but that was enough for me to be like, okay, you're thinking about something that most people aren't right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I hope this works out because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was definitely a cool thought to be like, I recognize I am not like these people. Like these are athletes. These are sporty people. And so I need to, from the jump, present myself in a way that I'm not completely counter to them so that I can like be a part of that.
Yeah.
And like I feel like my mindset in that situation is always I'm just gonna be myself. I can get along with just about anybody. Like I'll figure it out. But no, he's like, how can I already start getting the inroads in these relationships? And I love it. It's sick.
Hmm. Yeah, because I don't think he's saying he's like not himself. He's not like
Hmm.
lying, but it's just more so how he communicates. Like facts about himself, how he explains his personality or his career or something. Like I don't. It's just so fascinating, and I think that's so smart. Honestly, like maybe in everyday life, like maybe I should be doing a better job at that, right? Like to connect with people or like to like
Yeah.
form like that makes sense. Like you kind of have to find a common ground with people, like to form a bond, and that should be no different. And I think like a lot of people focus on like, oh, we're so different, blah blah blah, but he's trying to like get into their subconscious to like make them want to work with him for not obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So I hope it works out.
I definitely think in some ways we like everybody kind of subconsciously does that. Like if I'm at like I volunteer at my church's youth group. Like if I'm at like a youth group function, I'm going to present myself more as like, oh, this is my role in this like youth group to relate to the people who are also there for like their roles in that where they volunteer or other students or things like that. Like I'll auto, but like to go into a completely level playing field, completely random situation, and that is just still your thought is like I'm still trying to match the energy of what's or like what you guys are bringing to the table is
Hmm.
very interesting because it's not like a designated place to you know what I mean? It's not it's not that designated spot. So
Well, and especially
big
if
fan.
he's doing it without them fully realizing it, then he automatically has a
Yeah.
leg up on them.
Hmm.
Because again, I think like for the initial introductions, people are playing the game that early on, but that's might not be something they're initially thinking of. You know,
Hmm.
they might not be gaming socially until like they slip off for a one-on-one or something but
Yeah.
the fact he's doing it right off the jump. So, kudos to him. The only issue is he wants to work with Bianca, who is clearly on the outs. So I don't know about that one, but
Yeah, Bianca is one that I don't even remember really.
the only thing I remember about her is because he mentioned her, because
No.
because I forget what does Star do. Does she do something athletic or does she just look
She's a
athletic?
sales expert. She played basketball, I think he said something
That
like
was
that.
right. That was right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because he pointed out he's like it's me and Bianca, so I'm gonna protect her. And
Hmm.
then he formed an alliance with the two guys instead. So I don't know about Bianca
Yep.
much longer.
We'll see if she lasts. I mean, like we said, this group is kind of stacked challenge-wise, so they might just never have to
Yeah.
vote anyone out.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Bianca might
even
skate
the
by.
weak players, like Ava, so, might be a weaker player if you just look at her. But then like she plays hockey, so it's like okay, well,
Hmm.
she clearly is athletic. And
To
then
play hockey for the guys' team at like the collegiate level is wildly impressive.
it's insane. That is
It's so
absurd.
crazy. Yeah.
Like hockey is one of I mean like maybe football's the only other like major sport that like would be more physical,
Hmm. Hmm.
like
Oh,
you
absolutely.
couldn't just go do like baseball or soccer, like hockey.
And any of those are nuts. Yeah, it's wild. I'm all in on Ava. I think they gave us a lot of her in this episode.
Yeah.
I think that's because she's gonna be around a while and she's gonna be like a main character this season, and I'm a big fan. I love the connection between her and Joe, and like that she was like, "You're the person that I want to like trust with this information." And the like moment where she's sharing like these are like things that I like. This is when I'm overwhelmed, and this is how you can help me. That was beautiful. I'm usually like stuff like that. I'm usually pretty dismissive, but with Mitch and then with them this episode, I was just like, I'm all in. Like, yep, you
Yeah.
guys rule. I hope one of you wins.
I completely agree, and I literally had the same thought. Like while I was watching it, I was like, these are the moments I tend to just kind of tune out, like any sort of backstory or like
Hmm.
personal obstacles, like that, but like it worked on me, like it really
Yeah,
did, and just seeing Joe's reaction too. I
yeah,
like I don't know if it's just we're not used to seeing this archetype of a player also like be this I don't know, sensitive, caring. Like I don't know what it is, but I was like,
Mhm.
oh my goodness, like is this the best guy in the world? Like is Joe like the like the
Immediately, his
ideal
question
man?
is, what can I do to help you when that like just
Yeah.
obviously everybody's gonna ask that at some point, but like that's his first instinct is like, how can I help you? Like, what can I do? And immediately it's like, oh, is this like what you need me to do? And like helping like hold her hands and like, oh,
Hmm. Yeah.
I
No,
was
it
I
was
teared up.
beautiful.
I won't lie, I teared up a little bit.
No, it was beautiful. I don't know how you watch. Like I truly don't know how you can watch that and not be rooting for them at this point. You know,
Mhm.
like 100%. Like I mean, I like several people. Like I am still like I like Thomas a lot, but like when they had that conversation, I was like, oh my goodness, like please, please let this be two of the final three. Like my goodness, I want them to just win everything this season.
Those were the two that I was talking about when I was like, I can't remember last time I was this bought in this quickly on people. And who
Yeah.
knows, they might turn it around and be like wildly offensive next episode, and it's like actually I don't like them anymore. But right now, boy, I'm along for the ride and I'm excited.
Yeah, and I mean, I do like Joe's position as well because now he's got this duo that I think is gonna last, right?
Mhm.
I don't see him pulling a Maria, late game. Let's just say that, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Like this feels like an actual connection here.
Mm.
Uh, and then he's
Yep.
also in with Thomas and the other guy who oh shoot, how do you say his name?
Shaheen.
Shaheen. That's it. Yes. Which I don't know. Like Joe just seems like the kind of guy that is loyal, but also does a good job showing he's loyal. Like you can tell he's sincere. So
Mhm.
I would be surprised if anyone even wants to like burn him. Like how do you
Yeah.
blindside that guy? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
that, you got to be the cruelest person ever.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it couldn't be me.
Yeah. And then there's Star, which I don't have like anything on.
Did she find an idol or she was close or something? Or I can't remember.
um, right now, Sai is the only one with an idol, but that doesn't mean I don't
I
know.
guess it would say if she had the beware advantage probably too.
She might have been looking. I don't remember if I'm
Maybe.
being honest.
Yeah. I mean that's fair. That's all I had on her. Honestly, Shaheen I'm very, very interested in. I don't know, something about the look of him makes me feel like he could be an awesome winner. And I know that's an outrageous thing to say, but I just get that vibe. Something about that big bushy beard that I'm like, this guy's gonna rule.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything to dissuade me from that. So he might be my shot in the dark.
All right. We know
Oh,
how
that's a fun new thing. Our shot in the dark.
where we just pick a winner that is unsuspecting.
After the first episode, we
Oh.
each pick a shot in the dark.
Okay. Is that your shot in the dark then? Like, is this an official pick, or do you want to think about it now that you've invented a new concept?
No, because it was him. I gotta go with him. He's my shot in the dark.
I'll go Ava. Keep it purple.
Okay. Honestly, in future seasons, I almost think before the first episode, we have like up until the beginning of the first episode to text each other. This person's my shot in the dark this season.
I'm game. It won't go well, but like, yeah, we can try it.
Yeah, but it's gonna work really well once, and whoever is correct is just gonna dangle that over the other person forever.
The crazy thing is, we've drafted, I think, like most seasons. Not every season. We started a couple seasons ago, and we've never drafted a winner.
That can't be true.
Last
Monica
year,
can't be the only one.
well, that wasn't an official draft. Okay, so last year Rachel won. We didn't draft her. The year before was Kenzie. We didn't draft her. The year before was D. Did not draft her.
I had to have drafted D, or did I? Was it like later on that I was all because
It was
early
later
in that
on.
season, I was in on D.
Let me see if
It
I
was
can actually
pre-merge
pull
for
out
sure.
the. Let me see if I can pull up the actual document.
It was
'Cause I remember-
because that one I claim because I'm proud of that. That was
You
at
do
least.
claim it, and yes, it was good. So you had Drew, Kelly, and Emily.
Yeah, I stand by those 3.
Well, mine was Brando, Sabaya, and Katura, so that was not a good showing for me. And I think that might have been the first season we did it.
Well, the years before we
Yeah.
did the draft, we did the hot takes and stuff. We've done a bunch of different stuff as the years have gone on.
Yeah, my point being is, well, I think the year before we just picked a winner. Because I remember I picked
Okay.
Kane, and that was a horrible choice. I don't
Yeah.
even remember who you picked. Oh, you picked Heidi.
Did I?
I think so.
I did. I was like, "Yep, I'm all in. It's got to be Heidi."
So needless to say, we're not great at picking winners. We have yet to do that officially again. Because even like Kenzie, we were early on Kenzie. I'll say like Rachel. I think everyone knew by the end, but like Kenzie, we were ahead of the curve. You were ahead of the curve on D.
Kenzie was one that I think we didn't pick because we were like, "There's no way she makes it that far."
Yes, you picked
Like Rachel, we just missed. I'll gladly admit, Rachel, we missed, but Kenzie, I think we probably both considered it, but we're like, I just don't see her making it that deep.
Well, you picked Tiffany, and that was the only person from that tribe because that was like the 3 weeks in a row. Because it's after episode 3 that we draft, right? Is that always it?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think so.
That was in the midst of the Banu, saga.
Yeah.
He would have just went home after episode 3, so we're like, they're screwed. No one on purple, except maybe Tiffany. So, yeah, no, I'm not. We do good. We do our best, but it's just funny that we have yet to do that. So, maybe this is the season. Either Ava
Maybe.
or I already forgot his name.
Shaheen.
That's it. All right. Anything else in this season? Premiere?
I don't think so. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wiki right now. Part of the trivia is Survivor 48 is the first season since wait, what am I reading? Survivor 48 is the first season to display its number on the bottom half of its logo, in the position where seasons prior to Winners at War displayed their subtitles.
Man, that's a fun fact.
Isn't that interesting?
I had fun.
All the post 40 logos, the number goes on top. This one's at the bottom. That's fun trivia for you. Okay. Well, we'll be back next week. And then in 2 weeks, we'll have our big draft. I'm ready. 3rd year in a row, I'm going to win.
Nope, no chance.
For
No
more
chance.
episodes, you know where to find us. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere there's the podcast. We're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube at NGAP Pod. That's at NGAP Pod. I'm Nathan. This is Tony. And we will see you next time.
Ooh, 15 seasons, 2 pals, 1 podcast, I think.